The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to the Ring and All of Sports. My name is Leo Connors. I'm your host, and I've been gone for a couple weeks. But tonight, I got two special guests, professional wrestlers Sethoran and Vanity Vixsin. Guys, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
And my first female guest in studio, Dick must be very happy right now because he's been asking for females in here for a long time. I guess Maria, who's sitting in the corner over there, isn't good enough. All right, guys, so we're just going to I'm going to do something a little different because there's two of yous, and it's, you know, instead of having you both answer each question, but I just want to know one thing first. Where'd you grow up?
I was living in Salisbury Beach, that area right in there.
I grew up in Peabody, Mass. All my life.
Peabody, Mass. All right. I grew up in Massachusetts myself. Okay, so you were wrestling first.
Yes.
Okay, and who trained you?
I was trained, well, I started by Ripper Morrison.
Yeah.
He trained me first. Then he took off, and we had, like, you know, Perry Saturn for about 6 months. Then they would book names at this place, like Mick Foley, guys like that. They would come through, and they would give us, like, you know, weekend things. And then Gino Caruso came through and trained me for about a year, me and Johnny V. And we did that for about a year. That's it. It was him for a year and a half, and then Knuckles Nelson came in and took over for 5 months. Right. And then it was all left up to me after that when everybody else took off from there.
That's pretty awesome because I don't. But the Eliminators are my favorite tag team of all time. So hearing that Perry Saturn, that's pretty wild. Now? How long did it take you to get? How long were you wrestling before Vanity?
I was training for 8 months at least.
8 months
before she came in the picture.
Okay, we're gonna get to her coming in a second. Do you remember your first match?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Was it a battle royal?
There was a battle royal, but before that, there was an actual one-on-one match. It was me against Johnny Royal.
Nice.
And I had Jeff Costa, who later became the Lost Man, booked me in my own hometown, Elks Lodge in Peabody, and I didn't have a gimmick. And he looked at me, and he stared me up and down for about 20 minutes. He's like, "You look like an Indian." And I knew this was going in the wrong direction, and I really didn't want to be an Indian. But he's like, "You're the Flying Arrow. That's what you are."
Flying Arrow.
And I just couldn't remember how embarrassed I was going to be when that name came out, and I was in front of my family. And I did a 3-minute match with Johnny Royal, who took really good care of me.
Right.
And then to rewind a little bit, that afternoon I had Sonny Goodspeed and Johnny Vegas at my house for an early dinner.
Right.
And they were promising my mom how they were going to take care of me. So when we got, after that match, we did the Battle Royal. And everybody lined up and decided they were going to do a chop line on me.
That's how they're going to take care of you.
And every time, somehow, I eliminated Sonny Goodspeed twice in the match.
Right.
And every time I eliminated him, he would look at my mom and say, "I told you I'd take care of him," and he would come back in the ring and chop me. And then let me eliminate him again. And he's like, "I'm taking care of him." Wow. But that was my Battle Royal experience for Jeff
awesome.
At that point.
Now, how many more matches do you think you had, like, before Vanity came in? Did you have a lot of matches?
No, I think maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then she started training.
Now, did you wrestle any other promotions besides Jeff alone before she came in? Just want to cover it in case.
I would do, I did Jeff's, and then I would do the New England Pro Wrestling for Big City Mike.
Okay, now that was in the beach,
Salisbury Beach,
Salisbury
yes.
Beach?
That's right where I trained, too.
All right. So now we're going to get the Vanity into the picture. Now, who trained you?
I had one session with Gino. Yeah. And then
nice.
to Sethoran.
That's awesome.
Completely trained me. So I started off as managing.
Okay. Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah, I did a lot of managing.
Nice. Now, a real quick question about Gino Caruso, because I know he's out in Jersey now, and he does this now. So he was living down here?
Well, there's 2 of them, I believe. There was one that lived in Jersey. There was one that was around here.
Oh, okay.
Who was Gino Caruso. He also did like a Mexican gimmick.
Oh, okay.
So it was the one that lived up here.
All right, okay, because I was definitely confused on that.
I think the one that lived up here was from New Bedford or something like that area.
Because I ended up on, I did the catering show for a woman's show at the one in Jersey at his where he has his gym and all that. Okay, so now, You start off as a valet manager, and you were just working for him. Correct?
Well,
at first?
well, first I think it was, what's his name?
Tony Ellis.
Yes. First I came in as a cheerleader for Tony Atlas. Then he left, and then that's when I just started working with him.
Okay. Awesome. Now, I'm going to end up going back to like that stuff, but do you remember your very first match and when it was? Your first one-on-one or tag team or whatever it was?
First one was with WFA.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
That's.
I did a lot of I did do a lot of like moves and stuff like that with the guys as far as managing.
Right.
But my first one-on-one was with Steve Riley, with the WFA, and that was with Mickey Rocks.
Nice. She must have taken good care of you then.
Yeah.
Nikki,
Yeah, because I really, when we were talking, she's like, so what have you done? I'm like, really? I've done everything, but it's always been with a guy. So I've never had like a match. So she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So she's like, all right. So we just went and I listened to everything she said.
Right.
I was like, I just got to listen to you.
I can't believe she left the business too. Like, I mean, she was pretty much really on top. Not, you know what I mean? Pretty much on top out there.
She left too early.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
now she's doing like bodybuilding or something like
Yeah.
that. Good for her though. That's awesome. Back to the AWA. Jeff was known as the last of the Connies.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, some of his gimmick matches were like unbelievable. The toilet bowl matches, and the infamous 3D. Were you guys on that show?
We were on that show.
Do you remember anything about that night that's funny?
I remember, when I started with Jeff, I wasn't really in with Jeff. Like, you know, he made you earn his respect and earn, you know, everything. So I always felt like an outsider. And then about this point, I was finally getting in with him. And he's talking about the match early on. He's like, it's going to be 3D. I'm going to sell the 3D glasses, and I'm going to do this. And I was saying to him, hey, man, all due respect, 3D? Then it's not going to work. They're not going to buy it. He goes, Amato, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Is it? Is it? Yeah, it's going to happen. And I remember he had boxes and boxes of other things. Sold them all out.
Yeah,
and then he would walk up to the fans and be like, 3D! Yeah! And I was going to say that. And I just couldn't, like, he would just come up with stuff like that. Like, I remember him sewing two guys into a big, large suit and calling them the Siamese twins.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and then
he was the best.
he just came up with ideas that we were like, that's not going to work, Jeff.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to work. He just made it work. The guy just had a knack for that stuff.
He was the second guy I asked for the show. I don't know if you guys know, but at the beginning, no one wanted to come on. Nobody. I asked Slick first because I always loved Slick, and my kids love Slick, you know. And then Jeff. After that, I was very disappointed. Nobody wanted to come on, so that's why I ended up grabbing my buddy Derek Dukes, you know, because I needed somebody here, you know. But all right. Now you said you were trained by Ripper. I know Ripper pretty good. Very nice guy.
Yes.
Hell of a worker.
Yep.
And his tag team was with Johnny Royal as the Boston Bulldogs.
Yep.
Any funny Ripper stories?
No, not really. Me and Rip, like I said, I was 17 and a half when I broke into the business. And he was always like stern with me. It was like, here's how things are.
Right.
Here's like, you know, I used to be around the bush about things. He's like, nope. It's like this. That's why I get the mentality now. Like, it gets me in trouble.
Yeah.
I shoot from the hip. I'm honest to a fault.
Yeah.
So I shoot from the hip, and when everybody's like, "Why you like that?" I'm like, I was around Ripper for so long,
right?
And it just worked for him. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never gonna be around the bush about something. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. If I have to tell you something, and it came from him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Although there was one day we used to stay back when ECW was fairly new. We used to stay back at the arena and watch because they had a big dish or whatever.
Right.
And one day he walked in and, hey, come here, I don't want to teach you some moves. He just decided, while I was watching it, he decided to stretch me in the ring. And I didn't realize what was going on until I heard a little bit.
Until it was too late.
Years later, I go, Ripper, remember when you did this to me? He goes, I never did such a thing. I go, you did it. Trust me, I remember you did it.
That's hilarious. Now, was Jason Sanderson around you guys when he hit the lottery?
Yeah.
Now, Jason, I know Jason a little bit myself too. Matter of fact, when I had some passings away in the family, Jason would always say things at his church and stuff. He was a great guy. But what any funny things about Jason or anything? I know I really don't know him enough to know like his funny side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we didn't really interact but cross with him. I mean, we talked to him and stuff on shows, and I mean, we did fly to Mexico together, and there is
you were there. All right.
there is a funny story that happened. I mean, he doesn't know we laugh about it, but I guess
I
guess he will now.
Yeah.
We did a show inside a jail, and we had something in the match that was going on, and there was some miscommunication, and poor Jason got hurt. And we didn't know what to do. We're like, me and Brian Fury was new, and I just didn't know what to do with this really big guy laying on the ground. And I remember Ripper yelling across the ring to me saying, just drop kick him off the apron so we can get rid of him.
Right.
Well, as I'm about to go drop kick poor Jason off the apron, somebody stands him up. And not only is he like yelling out for a medic in the middle of the ring as much as he can, because his knee was out, I drop kick him in the face. So I remember that night, me and Fury laying in the hotel room, and we're trying to fall asleep. And every time one guy would fall asleep, the other one would yell out, "Medic! I need a medic!" And it just became a story about Jason for a while. I remember telling him one day about the story. He kind of like looked at me, smiled, and just walked away. So I don't know how much he liked the story, but it was funny for us.
That is funny. Now, some of your favorite opponents when you worked in the in the AWA.
Johnny Vegas was my top favorite opponent. Tarzan, Matt Spectro, Brian Fury. I gotta say, I had a lot of good matches with him. Maverick, you know, the 1 or 2 times I got in the ring with Sonny Goodspeed. You know, I mean, Sonny I thought was one of the most talented guys around.
Oh, no doubt, you know? Absolutely. You know, I never knew he went to Memphis. He told that story here. I had no idea.
I always told people I always looked up to him from the minute I met him. He taught me how to do a drop kick. He was like 300 pounds, teaching me a drop kick, and I was in awe. And like, so yeah, all those guys I liked working with. I mean, even Jeff, all these guys. I mean, I believe Jeff had a knack of bringing in guys that nobody else wanted. And like, when you turn around, everybody was in their own little way was good. You know, and then you saw, you know, like I said, all my learning happened there for the most part. You know, it's where I learned a lot of how to do what I do. You know, was there.
Now, about you, like, you know, I know you know, you're managing and stuff, but was there anybody that you know, that you always like to watch them wrestle? You know what I mean, and get involved with? Same guys? Or?
Yeah, that Brian, because we had a lot of like interaction with them in their matches. Same thing with Matt Spectro, Tarzan. Same thing. Every time I was there, they would all right, we're doing that stuff, but let's get her involved. Let's let her do stuff. So I loved working with everybody from AWA.
Nice. That's
everybody. Awesome. They're all lovable. They're all sweethearts. It's a family. It's a family.
Now, there's a few guys in here that I wanted to ask you guys about, and the first guy I'm going to bring up is funny because he used to work for me when I was the supervisor right up the street at the South High School. Prince Charming, Chad McCarthy. You remember Chad?
Yes. I love Chad.
Yeah. Did you ever wrestle Chad?
Yes. Actually, my first real big title win, my first big heavyweight title win or championship was I beat Chad for it.
Oh, nice.
And I remember back in that day, Chad had his things. He didn't like losing the belts anyhow, you know. And I remember he'd either forget it in his closet or whatever, and you know, or forget to get to the building that he's been to 17 times. And I remember that night, Jeff said, "Okay, you know, we'll finally put you over for the big one. Chad's gonna do the honors, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Is he gonna show up?" So awesome. I remember Jeff was in the middle doing like a little like TV deal that he was doing. So they had lights up, they had everything going on, and Chad showed up. And Chad showed up, wasn't really saying much. So I'm like, "Oh, he's in a bad mood. He's in a bad mood." We went over our match, and I'll never forget. Like as soon as I beat him, I remember him thanking me in the ring, and I remember, you know, I was tired. And that night, I think I wrestled two times for some reason. And I was sitting on a chair, and Chad came over from behind me and gave me a kiss on the cheek and whispered in my ear, "You deserved it." And I said, you know, again, he was a stand-up guy. You know, and I remember Jeff saying, "I knew that match was going to work because for some reason you always kept Chad in place." I just never treated Chad any differently. You know, I saw what he did, and I got mad at him. I would just pull him aside, and be like, "Why would you do that? You've been here 32,000 times. How did you not get here?" You know, and then you know, he's a good guy. Like I still talk to Chad now.
Me too. Like I said, he actually just got a big promotion over there, and he called me up to thank me because I told him to not get involved with some of the other guys because there's a big on third shift. There's like 10 guys over there, and they're all good workers, but they cry about everything. And I told him once you get locked in with like in that group. You can't get out, and he didn't, and now he's the boss. So it's pretty cool. And he would never tell me the things because I asked him one time, like, "Dude, what's up with the wrestling? Why'd you quit? And you know, why does like Jason have you blocked on Facebook?" And he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me. And I'm not asking you to tell me. No, because I love Chad.
I think Chad. You know, Chad was so talented. Like I never understood why more people didn't use him. Because
he was talented.
I used to tell people, and Tarzan used to say it too. You could put that guy in a glad bag and he'd get it over. Like any gimmick they gave him, he just got it over. He just had an act for it.
Backstreet Chad.
Oh, I loved it. That was my favorite gimmick. It was one of my favorites.
Awesome.
I still call him by that.
Do you really?
Yeah, when he's kicking my ass at
I think
Words of Friends.
You had done something with him as a tag thing, and him and I actually, there's a picture, I don't know where it is, but we have the exact same pants on because we both got it from Hot Topic. Wow. It was the flaming
I couldn't keep a straight face with that kid on Chad Street. There was always something different he would pull, and he's a good guy, really good guy.
He's
now,
a sweetheart.
I don't know the next kid's real name. I just remember him as Stingray.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, that's his name. And he got dined me out one time. I was helping out Jason Rumble, and I didn't ask. And I had my kids putting the flyers on cars.
Okay.
So that he went out, and I seen him come in. Thomas putting out flyers on the cars, and, Rip and Jeff. And so I was like, hey, that's me. You know what I mean? I owned up to it right away, and they said, dude, just, don't do that or ass.
Right.
I was like, I'm sorry, They were supposed to have, remember when they used to have the cookouts?
Yep.
The cookout was the next day, and I felt bad I didn't go. And Rip had seen me like a week later, and he's like, why didn't you go?
Right.
I said, because of this. He goes, dude, we told you that night. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You didn't know. We straightened you out. But yeah, so I've never been a big fan of Mr. Stingray for that reason. But what about you guys? Like, good guy?
Yeah, I think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
We had a period where we didn't talk and stuff like that. But we got back together later on and talked, hung out here and there. But I don't see him much anymore.
Right.
I don't know. Last thing I knew he moved to Florida.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he came back yet.
Right. Well, a guy that's coming on soon in October. You already brought him up a little bit earlier, but Maverick Wild.
Yes.
When I found out he finally got on Facebook, I was so excited because you guys know how funny Mav can be.
Yep.
You know?
That's all right. Yeah.
But one of my favorite workers, and I always bring this up when I talk about Mav, and I can't wait to do it when he's here. The shoes. The clown shoes.
Yeah.
If his feet are really that big, I'd be, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Was that a rib?
No, that's
just his shoes.
That's his shoes.
Because I couldn't believe it the first time I seen him. I'm like, man, he's got like Ronald McDonald shoes.
I was like, whoa. Those are huge.
It's gigantic.
I'm like, okay, I'm just not going to keep staring. I'm going to look the other way.
Right, but what a worker.
Yes.
Seriously,
Yes, really good worker.
he must have helped you out a lot at the beginning when you were wrestling.
Yeah,
Because that's just the type of guy he is.
He helped me out at the beginning, and then there was a tough spot in my career where I wasn't really into the wrestling, and he dragged me back in and helped me out. But yeah, I remember when I was supposed to work, at this point, Maverick was leaned out, and Maverick would go, I guess, get up at 3, 4 in the morning, go to work, and whatever, then run a ridiculous amount of miles. I just remember one day showing up to practice up the street here, and Maverick is running around the building, and he, without even huffing and puffing, he looked up at me and said, I'll be with you in a minute. And 30 minutes later, he comes back, towels off, puts on wrestling gear, and goes in the ring with me for another 25. Wow. And I remember going, I can't keep up with this guy. What's going on? He was just, I don't know, that guy had no lungs. That guy didn't run out of breath, but again, learned a lot from him. Learned a lot from Mav.
What I want to ask you next is, who helped you, like, in the AWA? Who would, like, give you some advice? Besides,
everybody would. Everybody.
Yeah, everybody gave you some advice.
Jeff, Rip, everybody. Everybody, and like I said, it was all like a family. So I was their little sister.
Yep.
So they would protect me. Yes. And then they would just give me advice all the time, what to do, and stuff like that. Because obviously I had to like manage him and get the crowd and stuff, and they would just always constantly, all right, listen to this, and like they would go over it, he would go over it, and like, all right, let's do it that way. And then it just became an act, and I was just like, I got this.
Now, I didn't even remember this guy worked for Jeff and all that. Did you ever wrestle Brian Black?
No, I didn't.
Because remember, Brian, he ended up in SmackDown, Palm Buchanan.
Yeah, I did wrestle him when they had, remember that New England independent tournaments that they had?
Oh, yeah.
We did the tag tournament there.
Oh, okay.
We did the 4-way tag, and I worked him there.
And who was your tag team partner?
Gallo. Was with my buddy.
Yep.
He was my WFA partner for Night. I went half for Nightbreed.
Okay. Yeah, because I have that Nightbreed down. I actually watched the match between the Noise Boys and Nightbreed this afternoon when I got home from work.
Those were pretty brutal. They hurt a lot.
Just a couple more guys, then we're going to move on. I remember this kid. He was from Nashua, too. Egghead, the amazing Egghead.
I remember that kid. I remember meeting him. He was 17 years old. I was like, how much you weigh? Oh, I weigh 350. But he said it like it was like the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And he walked into the room one day, Jeff, and same thing as me, looked at him and said, shave your head, you're an egghead. And that was it. He became an egghead. Like, that's all it was. That's his name from now on. Wherever we see him, that's his name.
I could have sworn there was a match between him and Jeff, a sumo boxing match.
Yeah. We were at WFA at that time, and they had a sumo boxing match.
Jeff was probably, like I said, the last of the great county promoters. All right, so let's, we're going to move on up to, you had said you went up to Green Mountain.
Yes.
And for Gary, what was his last name?
Langevin.
Yeah, Langevin. Now, were you guys on the show? I know he ran one, at least, in Nashua, around by the old courthouse, the Rotary Courthouse?
I don't think we were with him yet.
Okay, because he ran one show, and I ended up going there, and I remember, what's his name was there? The referee from WCW, Scott.
Scott Dickinson.
Yeah, Scott Dickinson was there. He was managing people down there.
Wow, I remember that.
So I don't really know a lot about Green Mountain. Why don't you tell us about, that promotion?
I mean, Gary just ran a little promotion. He had a good following for a while there, and he was just a guy that loved wrestling. He used to do, I mean, now they're called podcasts, but he used to do, like, internet interviews or whatever they were called back then. So he knew a lot of the guys, and it was just some fun little place to go work.
Now, did he run mostly in Vermont, or did he run all over?
Yeah, he stayed in mostly Newport, Vermont is where he, there was an armory up there that he constantly stayed at. Do
you remember any matches that you had that stand out or anything?
I remember having a really good match with Gary Cadelis.
The torch, he's coming on in January. I saw him at Walmart. Oh, yeah.
Really good guy. Yeah. Like, I had matches with him there, and the guy Derek Destiny, I had a good match there. But I mean, that was so quick. I was in and out, so I don't remember much.
Now, speaking of Gary, Mav said at one time on Facebook, he was saying how one of his favorite guys to work was Gary. What a pro, you know what I mean? One time they were wrestling, and they lost the blade. So he had to go hard way. He's banging his head on the ring post and he had to do it like twice before he started bleeding. But now, did you have fond memories of working at Green Mountain?
So it was just managing.
Yeah, but still fond memories.
Yeah, absolutely. Always had fun. Always got me involved.
Right, that's good. Anything else you want to talk about Green Mountain?
No, really.
All right.
That was a really short stint.
There you go, just like that. Was short.
It was a short stint.
Definitely. Brian Privatera, Mr. Aaron Amadeus wanted us to talk about Steve Bradley's Wrestling Federation of America.
Yes.
Which I'd love to talk about that too. Steve, the late great Steve Bradley. How did you guys get hooked up with Steve to start working for him?
I got a phone call one night at my house. It was Alex Arion, which was his best friend, and gave me a call and said, "Hey, Amato, what are you doing this date?" I forgot what date it was.
Right.
I said, I think I'm free. What's going on? Is there a show? Is there something? He goes, no. Steve's around, and we're going to run. We want to open a promotion.
Right.
And he just wants me. He doesn't want me to get the best wrestlers around. He wants me to get the guys that are easy to work with, the guys that love what they do, and aren't going to give a headache. Blah blah. He goes, "Are you interested?" And that was a hard question for me to answer.
Right.
Because I knew it meant I might have to leave the AWA.
Right.
Because these guys, I was with them 8 years, and at the time, Ripper and Jeff, and still, they're like family to me.
Right, of course.
I love those guys to death.
Had to be a tough call to make.
It was. So I remember going there, the date game, and me, Vixen, and Brian Fury got in a car and went to the meeting. And, I mean, Steve was intimidating, imposing looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Later on when I got to know him, it wasn't as much, but he just laid out the foundation. Here's what we want. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how it's going to get run. He looked at me. We started joking about Jeff. Not joking, but all the carny things they had, like Scott Hollis and Kevin Nashua and all that. And then somebody said, I think they had an El Mysterio too, and I think it was Fury that threw me under the bus and pointed at me, and he's like, "That was you?" And I didn't even know is it a bad thing if I answer yes? What do I do here? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not doing that here." I don't want to. So he laid it out, and finally, we knew a few months away, it was coming. So went up to Jeff and I said, "Look, I'm going over here. I want to work if I can, both places.
Right.
But old school. This is my area only." There was a falling out, which was terrible. It was, I say it was, for me, one of my darkest points. I remember my last show for Jeff. I showed up. I think I was their champ, and Maverick was coming from Chaotic, and they gave him the book, and they're like, "Hey, get this belt off this kid." I was sitting in the middle of the locker room. Nobody was near me. I was in tears. I remember my music going on, and Maverick telling me, "I know you're like the top babyface here, but turn heel in the match." So I said to the kid I was working, which was a student. Student was going to beat me for the belt. I said, "This is going to hurt." I don't know how to get over without really doing this.
Right.
So I went out there, lost the belt. Maverick came out and beat the kid in 10 seconds and won the belt back. And when I came back, I was still in tears pretty much. Right. And it was like Jeff was so mad. And there was a confrontation. I walked out, then there was a confrontation between her and Jeff. And looking back on it, I wish it was different.
Right.
And all I said is, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to hurt. I just want to be better.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And I was excited about what Steve had planned. You know.
And he ended up. Steve was running a lot more than Jeff too
Yes.
at the time. Way more, especially when he first started. Well, the whole time.
Yeah,
he was running every weekend. Well, Jeff wasn't running every weekend.
And there were weeks where we were doing 2-3 shows.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I mean, we were moving. Like,
Exactly.
I don't remember being home any.
I don't remember that.
It's a shame, you know, but that's the wrestling business. You guys know that. I'm not in the wrestling business, and I never claimed to. I'm around it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in it. You know, but I do see the things that happen, and sometimes you just can't help it.
And I go back and think about it sometimes. Like, could I have done it differently? Could I have made it work? And it just no.
Like, because he didn't want you to go anywhere.
No matter which way I looked at it, it was no. You know, I can't. You know, so you know, it wasn't. It was the best, a good decision I made, but at the same time, it hurt. Unfortunately, I had to hurt 2 people that I didn't want to hurt. You know, and it might look like I did, but I really didn't want to hurt them.
Oh, absolutely.
So then Steve laid out the plan.
Yeah.
And you know, he's like, you know, I'm going to put you with this kid, and which was ended up being my partner. The kid had 1 match under his belt.
Wow.
And
so you really took him under your wing.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a way teaching him as we went.
Right. So were you the worker in the ring, and would he come in for the hot tag, or was it opposite?
Actually, it was opposite because he was smaller than me. So for some reason, I always just go in there and do your thing, you know. You know,
take all these bumps so I don't have to get beat up.
You know, I mean, we would switch off here and there.
Right.
Like when we worked the Noise Boys, I knew Tarzan didn't like him, so I made sure I got in there.
Right.
And,
so he wouldn't get hurt.
So he wouldn't get beat up. But then, you know, and Steve sat down with us and said, I think you guys are going to be a good mid-card tag team. Right. But, I mean, he was so good at, he put our video together or had somebody do it and had our entrance. Like, I mean, it was like top-notch everything.
Right.
That, you know, we ended up main eventing his shows. And we just didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But then we got it. Like, that's what I knew. Like, this guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Like, this guy knows what he's saying, what he's doing. What's, you know. I mean, like I said, to me, it was the closest I've gotten to WWE without WWE. You know, you know, again, I had the most fun there. Nice. You know,
and it's funny. So, if anybody that's watching this that doesn't know about Steve Bradley, Steve, I know this. He used to run shows at like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And every show he did, he was getting more and more people. Finally, he had to like get in an arena, and he was just a teenager doing that. So it's amazing, you know. Real quick before I go anywhere else, do you remember a guy from Nashville that used to wrestle, or he was definitely from around here? Billy Wilcox, Flying Billy Wilcox. He might have been a little before your time. I was always just wondering what happened to him. That's all. All right, so now Fury, you've been friends with Brian for a long time.
17 years.
Who's doing a hell of a job at the New England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Yes.
I think right now there's a lot of great places to train around here, and I'm not knocking anybody else, but I really do think that Brian's is probably the best one. You know, with the multiple rings.
Right.
You know, lots of different trainers. You know, like Johnny's down there.
Right.
You know, as the beginning trainer and stuff. You know, he's got a lot of girls joining it now.
Right.
He's got the young kids. I mean, really good. Have you been down to Brian? You've been down to help and train, haven't you?
I was one of his trainers for like 5 years.
Okay,
actually.
I was going to say, I could have sworn I heard that.
I was on there for a long time.
And who are some of the guys that you helped train that are wrestling now?
Christian Casanova, Brick Mastone, who else is out there? Travis, Flip.
Yep.
Trying to think off the top of my head who else. Who else is out? So many of them.
Pat.
Pat Matthews?
No, he was before.
Okay.
One of the newer kids.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So mostly a lot of the newer breed that was there.
Well, some of the names you just named right back quite to town. What about Anthony Green? Was he part of it? Or did he come after?
No, he came after. He went right over to Brian's ring when he came. He was already trained elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'll tell you, we have a lot of young, great talent in New England right now.
Yep.
I mean, I look at Flip alone, just saying, you know, wow, didn't take him long. Dijak.
Yeah. I mean,
unbelievable.
I just work ethic out of that quick,
Yeah. Same thing with Kofi, though.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Kofi got 2.5 years and bang, he was in the WWE. It was crazy. Now, some of the other guys that worked for the WFA, you know, I got Bob Evans.
Yep.
Did Bob help you out a lot?
Bob at the beginning, yes.
Yeah.
Bob, I worked Bob a few times, and he just taught me, you know, you don't have to do this so much or that.
Right,
and he would just show me holds and show me different stuff. Like everybody gave me their little take, you know, and what to use and not use, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, Bob, I think I worked maybe 2 or 3 times with.
Nice. You know? Well, because I remember Bob's first time I ever seen him was at Jeff's show in Hudson, and he was centerfold with the disposable camera taken. I'll never forget that. Very funny gimmick, you know.
Here's a story I tell anybody. When I worked at the beach, right, Bob used to scare me. because I wasn't training yet.
Right.
And Bob actually had hair back then.
Yeah.
It was deep red hair, and he'd come out and make these faces, and at the time I would say to whoever I was with, I hope he doesn't look at me. Like, and
you were just as a fan?
I was just a fan, but I was just scared of him for some reason.
Right.
And then when
He is a big guy, though. There's
yeah, but
no
I mean,
doubt.
he was just, I don't know, and just the faces he would make, right?
right.
And the red hair for some reason scared me. So I remember, like, when I finally broke inside to a match, he's like, oh, you're going to work Bob Evans, and I wouldn't look him in the face.
Right.
And I'd just sit there like this, and he's like, well, you going to talk to me?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. Then I saw how nice he was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, so we're good, you know.
Another guy that's helped a lot of talent,
yeah.
you know, around the area. How about, we were talking about your first match was with Nikki Rocks, and that was in the WFA.
Yeah.
Do you remember any other girls that you worked? Did you work Tanya Lee?
Yes.
Okay.
Tanya Lee.
And how was that?
Good. Awesome. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's good chemistry.
Right.
Then later in the what was it? Catherine, Mr. Belmont.
Mr. Belmont, yes.
Oh, I freaking.
Those are brutal matches, though. Those little street fights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Listen, we
Kick
were
the
worse.
crap out
We
of
were
them.
worse than
Yeah.
men. We were worse than the men.
Right, right.
And it was like, and it was funny because even with Nikki Rocks, it was like years of like between hardcore matches or evening gown matches.
Right,
which,
right.
Oh yeah, you know, I never won ever. I'm like, oh, I got an evening gown match. I said, Steve, I'm gonna win, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I guess not. Nope.
Right. Any other girls women that you wrestled that you can remember?
Oh my God. Like, there's one girl, I can't remember her name. She was my tag partner.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember her name. She wasn't there long.
Okay.
But mainly, there was a girl, Sarah.
Sarah Del Rey, I think it was. So you worked with?
Sarah?
Del Rey, yep.
Yeah.
Del Rey.
Oh,
Remember,
wow.
yeah,
She's
she-
working
she-
at WWE now, training
Oh,
the
no, not
women.
that one. There was a different.
Another one.
Like
She
Gina
actually
Caruso.
left. She
Yeah,
left the business, and
Right.
she's more into like goth pitch and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
She's totally
like a model now.
opposite. Yeah,
Right.
model, totally opposite. But my main people were Tanya Lee and Nikki Rocks.
Nice.
Main two girls.
Right. Do you remember your first match for Steve?
Yes. My first match with Steve was at Littleton Opera House.
Yeah.
He was doing a TV tape, and
That
so
was a great build.
I love that.
incredible.
My favorite
Why
place.
doesn't anybody run that?
I don't know.
I know, right?
So I know he filmed he made us film
Yeah.
a bunch of footage in like -3-degree weather in Manchester, and he wouldn't let us come back to the school till what he needed filmed was filmed.
Right.
And he made 4 weeks worth of like videos for us, and every other segment, he would play it. Nobody knew who we were.
Right.
All there was like silhouettes on the screen.
Yeah.
I remember the end of the night, the Egomaniacs,
Yeah.
Johnny Idol and
Mike
Steele.
Oh, yeah. I used to love that tag team.
They kept on cutting promos, and I mean, they were good. And I remember somebody saying to me, because I was nervous a little bit, I'm like, you know, I know the tag team end of it, but I'm not, I didn't know if I was that good at the psychology of it and all that.
Right.
And they were like, these guys are gonna help you guys. You
Oh,
don't even,
yeah.
you don't even know how good these guys are, because I used to see them in NACW.
Right.
And she used to always tease them, and they used to tease her.
Yeah.
So you know, so I'm like, I didn't know them. I remember them cutting the promo and the lights going out, and us finally making an appearance, and the place erupted. And I remember we just got into the match.
Right.
And it was just so easy. We never went over it. It was just so easy. And it was like Mike Steele and Johnny
Yeah.
just putting everything where it went, you know.
Nice.
So, you know, that was my first match there with WFA.
Now, those guys were a great tag team, definitely. And Mike left the business, right? Because, I mean, Johnny still wrestles here and there.
Yeah.
Actually, was at the Fenway show the other day when he actually wrestled.
that-
First time I seen him in a couple of years wrestle.
I think Mike broke it. It was funny because we didn't know he was leaving. And I think we still were working the Egomaniacs in WFA. And I remember Mike pulling all three of us to the side in one of the locker rooms and saying that was going to be his last night. He actually told us that and I remember being super bummed because I thought Mike was always a serious one. So I'm like, oh, he's the guy to watch out for. Right. And then he was the one I had the most fun with. So I was like, oh man, he's leaving. He's leaving. So I was down for that one.
Right. Now, you talked about him earlier in the AWA as Tarzan Tyler, but he wrestled for Steve as Max Spectrum, right? Now, any memories of Max Spectrum?
Tarzan, yeah. I don't even, they were the Noise Boys. We were married to them for 2 years. And again, my partner and Tarzan just didn't mesh. And Steve got a hold of that. It was like street fights. Street fights. Or guitar on the pole matches.
Right.
I remember we did a guitar on the pole match, and we were supposed to win. And I told Steve, hey, do you mind if I hit Tarzan with the guitar?
Right.
No, I want your partner to do it. I go, but he's never done something like this. I wanted to do it. So I remember when I got hit with the guitar, everything went everywhere. Everything exploded. So to this day, I see my partner go for it. I turn my face so nothing comes my way, but I don't see anything go anywhere. I just see Tarzan laying there. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go pin him. And I go, Tarzan, you okay? No, I said, Tarzan, you awake? He's like, yeah. Tarzan, you okay? He goes, no. And then I see the pool of blood forming in the on the mat. So I pinned him right away, and I went to the back. Go, somebody go peel Tarzan off. You know, he just busted open. And needless to say, from that point on, matches just got a lot harder. And a lot, you know, I remember we were in Dover, and we didn't have an acoustic guitar. So Steve thought it was a great idea to use an electric guitar. And I said,
not going to break.
Yeah, and I said, well, Steve, that's not going to work. Like, somebody's really going to get hurt. No. So we did. I was on the apron. Tarzan was getting pinned by my partner, and Tarzan's brother comes off the middle rope with the guitar and hits my partner, and I felt the vibration come over my way. That's how hard you hit him. And Tarzan was like, oh, I think he's dead. You know, it was just, we were always beating the crap out of each other, you know.
2 years,
yeah, 2 years.
That's a long time to be.
But Tarzan was another one that had a mind for this stuff.
Yeah,
like when we sat down and came up with ideas, like, you know, he had.
Yeah, like on the AWA, they had a lot of good guys that, you know, maybe a lot of people wouldn't have heard, like Big Daddy Walker, Iron Man Tim Walker. I mean, these guys were good workers. They really were. How about I think Brandon Locke was trained by Steve, right?
Yes.
And now he's into the bodybuilding too. The guy looks amazing. Jeez.
Brandon Locke's really good. He's good. I think I've worked him maybe two, 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's fun every single time. Like, he's good. He's there when you need him to be there. He's got great ideas.
Yeah.
Another good kid.
Nice. Before we move on to something else, I just want to talk about tag team Sabotage. You know, the late DC Dillinger and Eddie Edwards. Did you ever work them in the team?
No, I worked DC. He got put with the Noise Boys because one of them couldn't make it.
Okay.
And I remember making fun of him because I said, why are you dressed in grunge? They're an 80s rock band. Right. And he's like, shut up, this is all I have. So
that's him.
I remember, like, it was a street fight in Dover somewhere, and we were told not to go outside, not to touch anybody's cars. Right. And somehow we didn't listen.
Right.
And me and DC went out there and did our own thing.
Did he lead you out there?
I don't know who lead. I think we both just went out there.
I was going to say, because that would be his style, to lead you out there not to do something.
For some reason or another, we both just went out there, and that, like, you know, I was thrown into a car, I threw him, and I remember whispering to him, there's nobody out here, what are we doing? Like, you know, you know, but everything that we were told not to, there was a cage match that night, we were told don't hit the cage. He threw me into it. So, I mean, not that I did anything to stop him. So Steve was through the curtain, hey, get away from the cage. You know, oh, okay, go the other way, but yeah. I only worked him once. Eddie, I would team with when we did like Iron Man War Game matches. Yeah. But I never worked him.
Now that's where the dynasty was brought together, right? With if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but with Sean Gorman and Tanya Lee and Eddie and DC, maybe not. Huh?
No, I think they did that elsewhere.
That might have been
NCW. That's what
I got a little confused there. Yeah. But now was Sean Gorman in that group though? No, he wasn't there. Okay. So now why don't we move on to the next company that you worked for? Which was?
Do I remember?
Was it Mavs?
Oh, Mav, yes.
Yes, okay.
So once WFA was no longer, I didn't want to wrestle anymore. Oh, you didn't? It's not that I didn't want to.
Just wanted a break.
Yeah, I think it was. I was burnt out. Yep. But I wasn't. I wasn't convincing myself that I was burnt out. Like, you know, I just didn't want to stop. But you know, I knew I had to. There was, you know, I don't want to say bitter. But it was like, you know, I would look at the business differently and the people in it. And, you know, I started pointing fingers, which is not, you know, not the smart thing to do, you know what I mean? And I just sat home. And, you know, of course, Facebook came along and I started posting stupid stuff. And then Maverick finally just reached out to me. And he said, you know, you still can do this stuff. Why don't you come work for me? And, and towards the end of WFA, I wasn't having good matches. Like, my mind wasn't into wrestling, you know. I just, you know, I felt like I wanted more for myself and wasn't getting it. You know, and I'm too stubborn to leave promotions, and I'm too stubborn to quit stuff. You know, so you know, I kept on telling Jen, "What do I do?" You know, I kept on telling, "What do I do? Which way do I go here?" Right. And you know, finally, Mav just called me one day and kept me on the phone and talked to me a little bit. He emailed, and we emailed back and forth. And I went to one show, and then one show became 2 shows, and then I stuck with Maverick for a few years. But he wouldn't let me work other guys that have been around, and I thought it was a punishment. Right. And he would let me work all the students.
Because he trusted you.
And he's like, and what he did, what I didn't realize he was doing was gaining my confidence that I could still do this by leading someone else. Yeah. You know, because I was to the point where I would get in the ring with guys, be like, what do you want me to do? because I just didn't have that confidence that I almost like I forgot how to do this.
Right.
You know, it was just a confidence thing, and he kept on feeding me the new guys. He's like, "Well, carry this kid. This kid's not that good, but see what you can do with him." And that's really how I got right back into it. You know?
Your passion back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice. Any matches from there that you remember that you loved?
I'm trying to think. I did have a good one there, I believe, it might have been with Tarzan.
Okay.
I had a good one there. And then I had a really good one with Maverick.
Yeah.
It was right along the point of Steve's passing.
Okay.
It was like a month later. I said to him, I would like to do a little tribute to him. Blah blah blah. I go, he was always good to me.
Right.
Can you help me? And he's like, you're gonna work me, is what you're gonna do, and we're gonna, go out there and just do it. And we did. We had a really good match with Mav, and Mav was very graceful and everything. Like he's always been with me.
Right.
And so that was a match. I think I have it on YouTube somewhere because I put the matches that really stand out for me on YouTube.
Oh,
so.
Cool. I'll have to check them out. So who else was it in front row back then?
Front row.
Was Sonny working there for him?
He was
he already out?
Nope, Sonny was there. I think was he Chuckyba Funky or something like
Oh,
that.
him and DJ Barron.
Yes.
Yes.
They were in there. Tarzan was there.
Yeah.
Me. At one point, Fury came through.
Yep.
Alex Arion came through. Brandon Locke. So there was a few guys.
Pretty much guys that you're very familiar with, anyways.
Yeah.
Nice. Alex, it's so funny. Like the very first time I seen him wrestle, I'll never forget because I'm such an idiot. Right? I was selling my merchandise and he's leaving. I send my son over there to get him. Brings him over, and what do I say? Oh, you're a great wrestler. I just like a moron. I should have went over to him. You know what I mean? But he was, he was young then too. I mean, he was in phenomenal shape. It was I think it was a couple years before he did the Super 8.
Yep.
So, and he also was at the beginning of Ring of Honor too. He did the first couple of matches. Him and Mav when they came to Massachusetts. So the company after Front Row you went to, was that NECW? I know you're working for them now, right?
No,
you're not working for them
NECW
now.
Throughout my career, I would work for them in sprinkles, like here and there. I never was one of their guys.
Right.
When she did a few shows, I think it was last year, a couple years ago, they used me sparingly here and there, but I was never like one of their locker room guys at all. They would throw me in with somebody and then not give me a booking and then give me another one.
Did you ever do the Hot Dog Safari shows?
No.
Now, who were some of your matches for NECW? Now, by now you're a full-time wrestler, pretty much, and then still valeting, but managing, but you're wrestling a lot more.
Okay, so we did a thing with Mecca and Nikki Valentine. So we were in a group. Who else? Like I said, I worked Belmont, MJ Jenkins.
Yep.
That was an awesome match. I loved it. Alicia.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of who else. Davian.
Oh,
yep.
Up and coming for sure, huh? Yep. Really? I didn't even know. Someone told me not too long ago that she went to Japan. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
she
pretty
went to
good.
Japan.
Yep.
That's awesome. So what was the name of the group you were in?
Oh my God, I can't remember the group.
Wasn't it something Mecca or something Maximum? I don't remember what it was.
Mecca Maximum or something like that, yeah.
Right.
And she outlived, but it was there.
Right.
Because then she ended up leaving, and then it was just me and Nikki.
Right.
Until Nikki turned around and she retired. I'm like, wait a minute.
They all left
I'm like, wait a minute. It's like, all right, not going far.
All right. So from Front Row, you said you were in and out of NECW. Right. Where else did you go from there? Was it APW, Liberty States?
So
Liberty States for Todd.
Right. After Front Row, I had a short run with Todd early on. And then that's when I was the time off after Front Row happened. And then I think I was out of wrestling for 2 years. Like I completely just wasn't even trying to get booked anywhere. I just, and I thought it was done. Now this is where Brian Fury came in. I thought I was done.
Right.
And I would get little emails from Brian Fury or text messages from Johnny Vegas telling me, hey, Brian owns a school now and maybe you should come up and check it out. And I remember going to a WWE event in Boston. I heard my name called, and I look over, and there was Brian with a few of his students handing out flyers.
Right.
So Brian always picking on me and, being whatever. He hands me a flyer, goes, hey, there's a wrestling school in North Andover. He said, maybe you should go and join. Right? So I remember, thinking about it, and then I remember texting him saying, hey, it was nice to see you. He's like, why don't you come out to the school? And I said, I don't know, man. Do I want to go anywhere near wrestling? He goes, I'm going to light that fire of wrestling up your ass again, is what he said.
Nice.
So I said to him, well, I'll come check it out. So I think it was me, Jen, B.A. Tatum went up there, and we did one of the practices.
Yep.
Then I took off again. Then I come back for like a month. Then Johnny V, who, throughout the 20-something years I've known that guy, calls me every week. Right. He was like, just come up here and check it out. And then I went up again. Then this time when I came in, Brian had these guys so well trained that not trained but taught.
Right.
That when I walked through the door, they stopped practice dead. They all surrounded me, started shaking my hand or whatever. And then slowly but surely I would come in and help Johnny V in the beginner's ring. And then one day Brian said to me, hey, I got something going on next Tuesday. Can you come and open the school for me? Which I did that. Oh, it was a Saturday. I did that. That very next Tuesday I came with his key. I was like, here you go, man. Like, I did what you asked for. I'm going home. He goes, well, I might have 13 students signing up. Hold on to that.
Right.
And then 5 years later, and that, as soon as I started the first year training and I was like, started messing around with the guys, I would tell them what to do and show them a move or two, but I wouldn't try to string 2 or 3 moves together. I didn't want nothing to do with the actual wrestling.
Right.
And then I started I think that's when Christian Casanova signed in and these guys, and I started getting a liking to them.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I want to work around with these guys. And then, Johnny V's like, hey, Todd Sobel needs guys. What do you think? I go, oh, maybe I'll do a one-off.
Right.
One-off is I've been with Todd 5 more years. So that's basically where, it was Fury and Johnny V kind of raking me back in that got me to do this.
Now, you've had some good matches at Liberty Stage with Christian Casanova.
Yes.
Now, you have a match coming up against him soon? I might have just been the poster.
I was on the poster, but I think he's got Danny Miles on the
okay, yes. But you did wrestle him not too long ago for the No Limit title,
for both titles.
For both titles. Okay. Yeah, because the No Limit champion now is Todd.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Who the heck's the booker for that?
We don't know.
Todd. Okay, so the Liberty Stage. Who else did you wrestle over there? You said you were there for 5 years, so you had to wrestle a lot of guys.
I got at the beginning. I asked to wrestle Vegas because I was like, I need something I feel comfortable with. So I worked Johnny V for I think it was 4 matches.
Right.
I worked Josh Briggs over there.
Another big new guy.
Christian Casanova, Danny Miles.
Yes, that was good.
Who else have I worked over there? I worked AG and Cam. Maverick. I worked Maverick there. I worked Maverick. I was supposed to have a big feud with Maverick, but I think he ended up getting hurt.
Okay.
And then he knew that he was done. So that's when so that was that. But yeah, those other guys have worked there pretty much.
Yeah. And then you just named a bunch of guys that are really good.
Brandon Locke is another guy who worked there twice.
That was a fun match. At least for me.
Yeah.
Right. Now, who have you been wrestling at Liberty States?
Oh, we had at least 3 or 4 different tag matches where it was me and you against dudes.
So Johnny V and Scotty Slade.
That was fun. Who else was there?
Maverick and Tony Spencer.
I just saw him at Fenway for the first time, and I'm just saying, like being in the same building as he was at the time, at least 10 years. Honestly, I hadn't seen him in forever.
We did a mixed tag actually with Davian and Brick.
And Brick, yep.
Oh, nice. That was awesome.
That was pretty funny.
Right.
I ate the buckle. Thanks, Brick.
So funny, he was on the show, and I didn't realize he grew up like 5 minutes from where I grew up. I mean, obviously in totally different generations. I'm 52, and he's what's he like 24? You know what I mean? But nice kid.
Yeah, he is.
Good worker. Now from Liberty States, is that when you started working for APW too?
Pretty much because I started.
Oh, you started there first.
I started with them first, and then obviously Ed knew him, and so he would have him come in.
Ed Hunt.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, Ed was on the show.
Yeah.
With Brian.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's just jealous because I can keep beating his nieces.
Yeah, because he's out. That's right, Uncle Eddie. That's right. Now also, you guys obviously know Big Woody, who's no longer with them anymore. But let's talk a little bit about Big Woody. He's been on the show twice, and he wants to come on here. He actually wants to do a boxing special, and I love boxing, so I need to get a couple more guys. You know what I mean? But to have like a round table. Boxing to me is not as exciting as it was years ago. But it's still a good sport. I'm going to be getting the Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather ripoff, but that's
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. So Big Woody, great guy.
I love him to death.
Some of the other guys that are helping out with him is Derek Mitchell. I thought Jarek Mitchell doesn't work for them. Yeah. Joe Moakley, no. Joe Moakley, I know you know Joe.
I know Joe.
Yes.
I remember you, Joe.
Joe's good worker.
Yes.
So your first match was with who again? Did you tell me already?
For APW?
Yeah.
I think I did. I came in.
Davey?
No, I was with. I think I was with Davey. I was kind of doing. We were doing like.
It was Belmont and someone else.
Yeah. We were supposed to be like a six-way tag, and Helen Vale ended up canceling and not coming in.
Okay.
It was supposed to be me and Davey and I think somebody else, but we worked it out with someone else. But we came as in that.
Right.
And then I've worked Belmont there. Raheem. Ike.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ike.
Ike.
Ike, he's one of Brian's students.
Oh, okay.
So he's somebody to watch. He's about 110 pounds.
Wow.
And he looks like he's straight out of a swamp.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that's the kid that Pat Dillon used one time at UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly
It's got to be
He's
because
creepy.
the kid was so... But it was great because he won his match. The people were going crazy for him, which is nice. But he weighed about 100 pounds.
Very nice kid.
Yeah, very nice kid.
Awesome.
Now, speaking of, we're talking about young kids and all that, Brian's got a lot of young students right now. He's got Stephen Lambert, I think, is down there, Stephen, and Avery.
Right, yep.
Yes.
Avery, cancer survivor.
Yep.
Nice to see, these kids working out and living out their dream, especially someone like that who, didn't know if he was ever going to get a chance to do that.
Avery sat in that school in our front row for 2 years with a notebook.
Wow.
And I remember one day him coming over by my ring. I was yelling at somebody. And I said, "Did you put that down in your notebook?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did." But when I looked at it, I go, "Yeah, you got to cross out the swear words." Like, your mom's like, "Oh, Avery was a story of his own. Like, he always a polite kid. Like, every time I talk to him, I think I'm talking to a 40-year-old. Just like the way he carries himself,
Definitely. Well, what he's been through, you know what I mean? Is definitely, he's had to mature quick.
I watched his debut on YouTube or Facebook or something, and I was very happy for him. Like, every time he knows I'm Facebook or sees that I'm down, I'll get a private message right away.
Right. Was that the one against Chase? Is that what he first did? No, that wasn't.
It might have been. It might have been. Yeah, it was Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, because Chase has been working with him and stuff, which is fantastic.
I'm glad he's living out his dream.
Right. Now, have you worked for Chaotic?
I've done
a couple times, right?
Couple times, yeah. I did the Countdown 1 year.
Yeah.
And then I did a 4-way tag. Shortly, a few months after that.
Nice. Now, some other companies that you might have worked for, periodically, whatever that's the word.
Right. I don't even remember half the ones.
Really?
I did DPW down in Connecticut.
Okay.
I was part of a group called The Revelation down there. But, I mean, I was like 4 shows.
Right. Now, who was that? That wasn't Jason Knight, right?
No, that's Joseph. What's his last name? It was Joseph something. I forgot what his last name was. That got those shows together down there.
Right. How were those shows? Good?
They were good. Yeah, they were good. Yeah. Nice. I mean, there was a lot of people on them, but they were good.
Right. Now, did you ever wrestle anywhere else besides like New Jersey? Did you ever go to New York, Pennsylvania?
We went to Mexico.
Oh, yeah, right.
Me, Jen, Fury. Yep. We did
just the 3 of us?
No, we went with Ripper,
yep.
Lobster Man, and the Wolfman. we were down there for like 4 days, I believe it was.
Right.
We did a match in arena. We did 3 regular matches, 1 in a big arena, and then we did the jail match. Jail match that I can't what do you call it? I can't convince people that I did it because I couldn't tape it.
Yeah.
I couldn't tape it, so
exactly.
yeah. But I'm like, there was little kids running around in jail. I couldn't believe it. There was little kids everywhere.
You could hear the murderers.
Yeah, it was something.
In like a caged area.
Well, they kept them separated, and like I was the only one out of all of us that spoke Spanish, so I knew what they were yelling down.
Right.
And I kept on like I remember looking to the side. I think it was Fury that was back there. Like, this needs to hurry up. And he's like, "Why? I just want out of here."
Right.
Why? I know what they're saying. You don't. I remember they wouldn't let her manage.
Jeff, right next to him, had my hand, wouldn't even.
He wouldn't let her go.
He's like, not letting you go.
It was something. It was an experience. Like, because we were on a high. Because the first night we wrestled in the big Coliseum there. I guess where they do like Rey Mysterio broke in there. And,
wow.
I think it was a 20,000 seat or something like that. Right. And I remember Lawson saying, "Well, I'm glad you guys are on this high. Wait till you see the next thing you're doing." He knew our schedule. We just right. And then when we get to this place, I'm like, oh. Maybe it's some kind of like, I don't know, college or something.
Right.
Open the gates, I see an AK, I'm like, oh
no.
And
you got me at AK-40.
And that's when I whispered to Brian, I'm like, what did we get ourselves into?
Right.
And then we just did it, and I just wanted out. I just wanted out of that one.
Must have been amazing, though, being in Mexico, seeing it such, what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a huge thrill for you guys to be there, but like it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's,
like the showman?
Yeah, no, but like just, it's such a, it's respect and all. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a, I don't even know the words. I'm sorry.
It's not good.
But
Like, we get you.
Yeah,
It's not coming out of my head.
Because with the, with the mask and everything,
Well,
it's just incredible.
It is. And then their faces were plastered everywhere.
I remember.
Like, it was insane.
I remember going in there. They had these two masked wrestlers. They were called Tenibles 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And they were like 6'7". They were tall, father and son team. And me and Brian would complain because the ring was like hard as a rock.
Right.
And I remember going down there with a sciatic nerve problem. And Brian was like, stop doing those moves. Stop doing that. I just couldn't. I didn't know how to wrestle any other way.
Right.
So I remember telling one guy in the back room, whatever you do, don't, throw me up in the air and, try to control me. So he gives me what now John Cena uses as a finish.
Yeah, yeah.
And all I can remember was me getting put in a scorpion deathhawk. And I was like, oh my God, this thing hurts. I can feel it. And Brian is like this, watching and laughing on the other side. Then maybe a couple matches later, we watch those 6'7" guys wrestling. They took this kid, they backdropped him. But the kid, when he was getting backdropped, put his knee on the guy's shoulder. And I mean, this kid was like 10 feet in the air.
Wow.
And when he came down, I was like, he's dead. I mean, it hurt when we were hitting the ground. I couldn't imagine him hitting it.
Yeah.
And then the kid would brag to us the whole night how he knew Rey Mysterio, he was friends with Rey Mysterio, and years later we saw a DVD with him on it with Rey Mysterio.
Really?
Well, we hung out with Rey Mysterio's uncle in the back room and took pictures and stuff, and with Psychosis, which was pretty cool. Rey Mysterio's uncle was inviting us to his ranch or whatever. We're like, we're only here for 2 more days,
Wow.
Everybody was really nice to us when we
yeah.
came in. It was a cool experience all around.
And Jeff got you guys that booking.
Yeah,
That's
because he was flying these guys up here,
Right.
and they were working us up here, and, and somehow, Jeff being Jeff just set it all up, and then we all went down there and just,
Because Jeff brought in a lot of top names too for a while, like Ted DiBiase. Were you guys at the show when Mel Simmons, when Animal was there, and he kept saying, "Come, you hear about that?
No.
Come have your picture taken with Hawk." Hawk passed away,
Right.
And I mean, people are telling him, and he did it like 6, 7 times. Finally, Animal's just like, whatever.
At that point,
You just come have your picture taken.
at that point we were at
You all know who I
Oh, okay, yeah.
Everybody knows who I am. So.
Right, and he was bringing at the time. He brought in like Jerry Lawler was there, Tommy Dreamer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we were at
Barbarian.
Steve's.
We were at Steve's.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, man. We got 45 seconds left. It goes fast.
Yeah, it does
guys,
go
I'd
quick.
love to set you guys up and have you come on again down the line.
Definitely.
I'll send you some dates and we can do this.
That'd be great, yeah.
Guys,
All right,
thanks
buddy.
for
Thank
coming
you for
on.
having
I
us, man.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
for having us.
I just want to give a couple plugs out real quick. If you're looking for some seafood, subs, pizza, go to Milano's Pizza at 1 Broad Street. The number's 603-883-6100. And if you need your car fixed, go see my ex-father-in-law, Rod McIntyre, and I don't have his number on me, but he's on Canal Street in Nashua. That's Rod's Automotive. Again, guys, thank you so much, and we're out. Peace!
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.